Have you ever felt like a room in your home simply shouldn't exist? Alice did, and no matter how hard she tried to ignore it, room 12 kept reappearing, always after midnight, always with the door slightly ajar. And the worst part, she lived alone. Alice had moved into an old building in the city center, lured by the low rent and the promise of peace. The building, though worn with time, had a certain charm: tall windows, original wooden floors, and an iron elevator that creaked as if hiding secrets. Apartment 304 was simple: 2 bedrooms, a small living room, and a kitchen with floral tiles. On the first day, everything seemed normal. Alice spent the afternoon unpacking boxes, cleaning corners, and trying to ignore the old smell embedded in the cabinets. That night, she sat in the living room with a cup of tea and played her record player, a relic she'd found at a flea market. The needle crackled, and soft instrumental music filled the air. But at midnight, when she went to the bathroom, something strange happened. The hallway seemed longer, darker, as if time itself had stretched with it. And at the end, where there should have been only 2 doors, one to the bathroom and one to the second bedroom, there was now a third. A door with the number side 12 etched in rusty bronze. Alice stopped, stared, frowned. She was tired, maybe imagining things. She went back to bed. The next morning she told the building manager, Mrs. Vanya, a short woman with white hair in a tight bun and eyes that never quite trusted anything. "Room 12?" she repeated, chuckling. "Honey, your place has only 2 bedrooms. This is 304. Room 12 is downstairs. That's the front desk. But I saw the door. It had a different number. It wasn't there before." Mrs. Vanya just shook her head. Alice tried to forget, but that night the door appeared again, right at 12:12 a.m., closed, motionless. On the third night, it was slightly open. By the fourth, it stood wide open, and inside, only darkness. She tried to film it, set up her phone in the hallway and left it recording. The next morning, when she watched the footage, just a normal hallway, 2 doors, nothing more, as if room 12 had never existed, but she knew what she had seen. And then, she started noticing other things, sounds in the hallway when no one was there, a faint crying, like a baby, the smell of burned varnish, appearing and vanishing without reason. One night, she heard slow, dragging footsteps. She stepped out of her bedroom, heart pounding, and there it was again, room 12, wide open, as if waiting for her. Alice thought about leaving, but something held her back, a weight on her shoulders, a sense that if she left, something would follow. She decided to speak with the janitor, Mr. Almir, a thin man with sunken eyes and hands always stained with grease. She found him fixing a light in the courtyard. "Mr. Almir, do you know who lived in 304 before me?" He paused for a long moment, then answered, "There was a girl, years ago, moved in, stayed a few months, then disappeared. Police came, broke the door down, but found nothing, just an empty apartment. And this strange door? Ever heard of that?" He hesitated. "I've heard stories, people who saw it, but no one who came back to tell. You should leave while you still can." Alice returned home, mind racing. That night she made tea, locked every door, and tried not to look toward the hallway. But at exactly 12:12, she heard the click of the lock. Room 12 had opened on its own. She approached. The air was colder. The darkness felt alive. She grabbed her phone, turned on the flashlight, and stepped inside. The floor was rotten wood, the walls covered in mold. An old crib in the center rocked by itself. In the corner, a broken mirror reflected, not her, but a version of herself, pale, sunken eyes, mouth sewn shut. On the wall, someone had written, "You're the last to leave. Lock the door from the inside." Alice stepped back, tried to leave, but the door had vanished. In its place, a solid wall. She screamed, pounded, nothing. The mirror trembled. From the crib, hands appeared. Small, childlike hands. 1, 2, dozens. Grabbing her arms, her legs, pulling her down. The room changed. The walls began to bleed. Children's voices filled the space with twisted lullabies. A mirror formed on the ceiling. Inside, she saw a younger version of herself, scared, dirty, trapped in a crib. And then, she remembered, she had been here before, 3 years old, a cold room with grey walls, an abandoned children's hospital. Room 12. Alice collapsed to her knees in the middle of the rotting room. A name tag trembled in her hand. She read and reread it, begging the universe to say it was wrong. But it wasn't. It was true. She had been one of the children. She had escaped, or been taken. But the room never forgot. None of them did. The stitched woman approached, her bare feet floating slightly above the cracked floor. The threads around her mouth began to unravel. Each loose stitch made Alice feel something stir deep within, an ancient pain. A cry never cried. "You left us," the woman whispered, voice brittle like dry leaves. "But we never left you." Alice tried to back away. But something inside her shifted. Fragmented memories. A nurse with hard eyes. A cold room. The smell of ether and smoke. She looked at the files again. The crossed-out names. They had all been dreaming of her, calling her back. And room 12 was the only place they still existed. The woman extended her hand. In her palm, a key. Old, rusted. The number 12 engraved on it. "One of us must stay, so the others can finally sleep." Alice shook her head, trembling. "Why me? I don't belong here." But the woman just stared, and behind her, the children, empty-eyed but hopeful, each holding a piece of the room, a burned toy, a cracked mirror, a stained blanket. "You came back," said one of the small voices. "That means you still feel, and if you feel, you can choose." Alice squeezed her eyes shut, fighting the tears. She had never asked for any of this, never known where she came from, but now it all made sense. The constant loneliness, the nightmares, the feeling of being watched, of carrying something that never truly belonged to her. And then she understood. Maybe room 12 only existed because she had survived. Maybe it was her fault. Or maybe it was her fate. Alice took the key. For a moment silence settled. The air exhaled. Lights flickered. The floor groaned. She walked to the door. Behind her the whispers softened. The children watched. The stitched woman smiled. Sad. Grateful. Alice turned the key. The door closed with a final click. The next morning, apartment 304 was empty. Mrs. Vanya went upstairs after noticing the strange silence. The door was slightly ajar. Everything was in its place. But Alice was gone. Like the others. At the front desk, Mr. Almir mopped the floor while listening to the radio. When he heard the news, he simply nodded, as if he had known the day would come. "Now, that makes 9, he muttered, staring up at the third floor. These days, those passing by the third-floor hallway swear they hear the sound of a key turning on its own, or a soft lullaby echoing from nowhere. And some say they've seen a young woman standing next to a door that only appears after midnight. Room 12 is still there, slightly open, waiting. If you saw something, if you heard something, comment below. I heard the door open. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who's ever felt watched in the dark. It keeps the files alive, and maybe, just maybe, it'll keep the next episode from being about you. Months passed after Alice vanished. Apartment 304 stayed listed on rental sites, but no tenant lasted more than 2 weeks. Some blamed the mold, others the plumbing, but all left in silence, eyes sunken, sleep-deprived. Mrs. Vanya stopped getting involved, spent more time praying at the chapel than managing the building. As for Mr. Almir, he spoke less and less, except to the walls. 9, 9, 9, he whispered, while sweeping the courtyard. In a local online forum, rumors began to circulate. An anonymous group created a thread titled The Room 12 Files, detailing dreams, noises, and sightings in the building. Most laughed it off, but some confirmed eerie details, ones no outsider could possibly know. And among the comments, a new username appeared, a 12 Morera. No one knew who it was, but she always answered the same question. "Did you see the door?" With one line. "Yes, I locked it from the inside." Late afternoon. A young woman named Camilla signs her lease at the building's front desk. She smiles, excited by the low price and central location. She carries 2 suitcases and a black cat, which hisses loudly as they pass through the gate. Mrs. Vanya hands her the key without a word. In the elevator, Camilla presses the button for the third floor. When she steps out, she notices the old hallway, the wooden floor creaking under her feet. She starts thinking about how she'll decorate the living room, maybe repaint the kitchen, replace the tiles. As she slides the key into the lock of 304, the cat in her arms hisses, fur bristled, ears flattened. Camilla glances down the hall, puzzled. It's empty, but for just a moment, she sees a door that wasn't there before. Old, with the number 12 in tarnished bronze, slightly open. She frowns. That's weird, she mutters, but she doesn't walk toward it. Not yet. Camilla enters 304. Room 12 remains, waiting, as it always has. If you'd felt a chill, if you saw something you shouldn't have. Like the video, subscribe to the channel and comment below. I heard the door open. It keeps the files alive. And maybe, just maybe, it keeps counting your name as off the list.